What happens when a Hollywood legend who usually stays calm and collected suddenly finds himself pushed into a corner on live television? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The moment begins with the studio energy already buzzing, the audience settling in, and the hosts greeting viewers like they always do. But there's something in the air, something about the topic, the guest, the timing, that gives everything just a slightly sharper edge. Whoopi leans forward with that familiar mix of curiosity and challenge she brings out when she's going to dig deeper than a celebrity might want. Leonardo DiCaprio sits across from her, polite smile on his face, hands folded in front of him, but his body language already hints that he's bracing for something he knows is coming. Whoopi starts gently, mentioning his decades-long career, his activism, his reputation for being laser-focused on environmental issues. The audience applauds, and Leo gives a small nod in appreciation. But even as he does, Sonny glances at Anna, and there's a shared expression, almost like they know this topic is going to take a turn. They always talk about these moments in their behind-the-scenes meetings, but this time, it's clear they're expecting tension. Whoopi shifts slightly in her chair. The camera moves to a medium shot. Her tone changes, still polite, still professional, but firmer. Leo, you've used your platform for years to raise awareness about climate issues. But some critics, especially recently, have said your lifestyle doesn't always match the message you're putting out there. The audience reacts with a soft murmur, the kind that says, "Oh, this is going to get interesting." Leo keeps a calm smile, but one eyebrow lifts just slightly. He answers with the kind of measured response he's perfected over the years. He talks about the complexity of advocating for systemic change, the importance of focusing on big-picture solutions rather than individual purity tests, the work his foundation has done around the world. The audience claps again, but the hosts don't move on, not this time. Anna jumps in next, her tone more pointed. Right, that's important. But people online keep bringing up the same thing. Your private jets, the yachts, those long trips. People ask, how can you tell everyday folks to change their lifestyle when yours seems? She pauses, searching for the right word, making the moment hang in the air. Inconsistent. The audience reacts louder this time. Some supportive, some surprised, some slightly uncomfortable. Leo's jaw tightens just a bit. He lets out a breath. He tries to maintain his calm tone, explaining that many stories online are exaggerated or taken out of context, and that has shifted a lot of his travel habits in recent years. But before he even finishes, Sonny jumps in, which already adds tension because interrupting a guest during a defensive moment always changes the energy. Sonny's voice is steady but direct. But Leo, you do know perception matters, right? People listen to you. When they see something that doesn't line up, they feel talked down to. They feel like celebrities get a pass. The audience murmurs again. A few people clap, others stay silent, waiting. Leo starts to speak but stops because Whoopi raises her hand slightly, not enough to cut him off aggressively, but enough that every person in the room sees the dynamic shift. It's not that we're blaming you, she says, but you have to admit, when you're telling millions of people that they should change their habits, they're going to look at yours. That's fair, isn't it? Leo finally leans back in his chair, a shift from his earlier composed posture. His face hardens for the first time. His words come slowly, measured, but sharper. I think what's unfair, he says, is when the work gets overshadowed by gossip or exaggerations. I've spent most of my adult life trying to bring attention to issues nobody wanted to look at, and sometimes it feels like people focus more on tracking my flights than listening to the science. The audience gives a mixed reaction. Some claps, some audible disagreement. Anna jumps back in, and this time her tone is more forceful. But Leo, you can't just dismiss concerns because you think the conversation is uncomfortable. People want transparency. They don't want to feel like it's one set of rules for Hollywood, another for everyone else. The tension is clear enough that the audience shifts in their seats. You can hear isolated reactions, one person whispering, "Wow," another softly chuckling out of awkwardness. Leo's expression changes. He tilts his head, almost irritated. I'm not dismissing concerns, he says, but I'm also not going to pretend that progress comes from attacking individuals. The system is the issue. And honestly, a lot of this criticism feels like a distraction thrown out by industries that don't want to change. Whoopi gives a quick half laugh, not amused but incredulous. Okay, but come on, Leo. You know the public isn't an industry. These are fans. These are people who admire you. And they are allowed to ask questions. That's part of being in the spotlight. The audience claps loudly at that, supporting her tone. Leo leans forward now. And I'm answering, he says, voice firmer than before. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend the narrative is always fair. It's not. Sometimes it feels like no matter what you do, people want to tear you down rather than look at the actual issues. Sunny interrupts again, which makes the tension spike. Nobody's tearing you down. But don't you think accountability matters? Even for you. Leo's response is immediate, and for the first time, the frustration cracks through clearly. Accountability goes both ways, he snaps, and the audience actually gasps. It's the first genuinely sharp remark of the conversation. He continues, if we're going to talk about solutions, let's talk about solutions. But if this is just going to turn into a segment about my personal habits, then you're missing the point of why I'm here. Whoopi and Sunny exchange a quick look, one of those silent, oh, his upset signals. Anna raises her eyebrows, amused but trying to keep calm. The audience is buzzing now, whispering, reacting, leaning in with that is this going off the rails? Anticipation that live television is known for. Whoopi finally answers, tone more serious now. Leo, we're not here to attack you. But this is a live show. People want honesty and clarity. We're asking what they are asking. That's our job. Leo nods tightly, but he doesn't smile. And I respect that, he says. But don't question my commitment. Don't frame it like I'm being hypocritical when I've done everything I can to support real change. The audience claps, not loudly, but cautiously. The tension is still heavy. You can feel it through the screen. And then Anna, unable to let it go, says, but Leo, the public sees what they see. You can't blame them for reacting. Leo doesn't wait this time. I'm not blaming them, he says sharply. I'm saying the conversation is bigger than me. And if we're going to reduce it to personal attacks, then we're not helping anyone. The room goes almost silent. The hosts exchange another look. The audience is hanging on every breath. The pressure is building, the debate heating up, and the energy shifting towards something none of them fully expected. And this is where the moment begins spiraling, where the tone changes from a tense discussion to something more volatile, more unexpected, and more chaotic, setting the stage for everything that's about to unfold next. The silence in the studio is thick enough that even the shifting of a chair feels loud. The audience breaths in unison, waiting to see who speaks next. Sunny finally breaks the tension, but her tone is softer now, almost like she's trying to steady the moment before it completely slips. Leo, no one here is saying you haven't done real work, she begins, keeping her eyes on him. But you have to understand, people feel exhausted. They feel like they are being told what to do while the people with the most influence sometimes seem exempt. That disconnect is real. We're asking you to address it, not defend yourself from it. Leo looks down, pressing his lips together for a moment, and the camera zooms in just slightly, just enough to capture the frustration simmering beneath his expression. He lifts his head again. I get that people are tired, he says, calmer but still tense. But I'm tired too. Tired of trying to use my platform responsibly and still being painted as the problem. His voice cracks just slightly at the edge, more anger than emotion, but it's enough to set off murmurs across the audience. Whoopi leans back, her arms crossing, not as a challenge, but as if she's reassessing how to navigate this. She studies him for a moment before saying, Look, Leo, you've been in the spotlight since you were, 15? You know how this works. If people see something, they react to it. They question it. And when a guest comes on this show, especially someone like you, we ask those questions because viewers expect us to. This isn't personal. Leo laughs under his breath, short, irritated. It feels personal, he mutters, not loud enough to sound aggressive, but loud enough for the microphones to pick it up. The audience reacts with a mixture of gasps and uncomfortable laughter. Anna straightens immediately. Hold on, Leo. If you think this is personal, then you're misreading the room. Nobody here is out to get you. Leo looks directly at her. Then why does it feel like every time I try to explain something, I get cut off? Or someone jumps in before I finish a sentence? The audience reacts again, half surprised, half entertained by the rising tension. It's live TV, and moments like these don't happen often. Sunny lifts her hands defensively. We're not trying to interrupt. Leo cuts her off. You just did. The room explodes in reaction. Applause, gasps, laughter, murmurs. It's the first openly confrontational moment, and even Whoopi's eyebrows shoot up. Sunny's expression shifts instantly, from defensive to firm. No, I'm clarifying, she says, with a tone that's very much do not push me further. We're doing our job. Asking tough questions isn't an attack. If that's how you're hearing it, maybe that's something you need to unpack. The audience owes loudly. It's one of those crowd reactions that automatically raises the stakes. Leo sits forward, elbows on his knees, voice low and tense. I came here to talk about the documentary. I came here to talk about solutions. And instead, I'm being grilled about things that have nothing to do with the film. Whoopi interrupts immediately. They do have something to do with it, Leo, she says firmly. Your credibility affects how people hear your message. You can't separate the two. Leo snaps back, but you can't expect perfection either. His voice is louder now, the frustration fully visible. I'm one person. I'm trying. But the focus isn't on the work. It's on whether I took a specific flight 10 months ago. Anna leans in sharply. Because those stories go viral, Leo. That's the reality. And if you ignore those narratives, people think you're dodging. Leo runs a hand through his hair, exhaling hard. I'm not dodging. I'm saying that we're wasting time on symbolic issues when the real problems are being ignored. Whoopi raises her hand again, controlling the room with the ease of someone who's done this for decades. Fine. Let's talk solutions then. What's one thing everyday people can actually do that doesn't feel hypocritical or disconnected from the lives they live? Give them something real. Leo looks at her, and for a moment, the tension cracks enough for him to breathe. He starts talking about policy changes, voting, infrastructure, holding corporations accountable. But before he finishes, Sunny jumps back in. But that still doesn't answer the question people keep asking about you, she says. If you want to inspire change, don't you need to model it yourself? Leo hits his limit. His voice raises, not yelling, but sharp, fast, unmistakably emotional. I have modeled it. I've been doing the work for years. And I am sick of pretending like I haven't. I'm sick of coming on shows like this and being treated like I'm the villain because I can't live up to some impossible purity test. The audience stirs again, louder than before. People shift, whisper, react visibly. The tension is undeniable. Whoopi tries to step in, but Leo keeps going. Do you honestly think I'm flying around for fun? I work. I travel for the foundation. I meet with leaders. I fund conservation projects. And every time I do, the conversation becomes about the plane instead of the mission. And that's exhausting. Sunny opens her mouth to respond, but Whoopi gestures for her to wait. She studies Leo's face, seeing that he's genuinely upset. Okay, but Leo, she says gently, that's part of the territory. You're one of the biggest actors on the planet. People notice everything. It comes with the job. You can't expect applause without criticism. Leo's expression twists, pained and frustrated. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for fairness. For context. For some acknowledgement that I'm trying. Anna, however, isn't letting it go. But Leo, nobody is denying that. What we're saying is that you can't blame the public for holding you to a standard you helped create. That's reality. Leo stares at her, eyes narrowed, voice quieter but more intense. And what about your reality? What about the standards you hold yourselves to? Because I guarantee if every part of your lives were tracked the way mine is, people would find things to criticize too. This time, the audience actually gasps louder than before. You can feel the shift, the moment where tension moves from heated debate into something more personal, more volatile. Whoopi's jaw tightens. Leo, careful. He breathes out, clearly torn between backing down or doubling down. Instead, he chooses something in the middle. I'm not attacking you, he says. I'm asking for empathy, for understanding, for a little humanity in these conversations. Sunny looks at him steadily. And we're asking for accountability. That's not an attack either. Leo shakes his head, rubbing his face. This whole thing feels like a trap. Whoopi reacts instantly, her tone sharp now. Stop. Nobody trapped you. You're on live TV. You know the deal. We asked a question. You don't like the question. That doesn't mean it's a trap. Anna nods. Exactly. Leo leans back again, visibly exasperated. Then maybe we should talk about something else. Because this isn't productive. But the tension is already spiraling. The hosts aren't done. The audience isn't settled. And the energy in the room is shifting from heated debate into something deeper. Frustration, misunderstanding, and the very real sense that things are about to escalate even more. Sunny folds her arms. We're not trying to fight with you, Leo. He looks at her with a stare that says everything. It feels like you are. The room goes silent again. No applause. No murmurs. Just a thick, tense quiet. Whoopi inhales slowly, steadying herself. We're going to take a quick break, she says, her voice controlled but rattled. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. But Leo shakes his head. We can continue it now, he says firmly. I'm fine. Whoopi looks at him for a long moment, long enough for everyone to feel the pressure building to a new peak. And as the cameras stay locked on them, the energy in the room continues tightening like a rope pulled at both ends, setting the stage for the explosion that comes next. The rope-tight tension in the room is so thick that even the stage manager off-camera hesitates to hold up the We're Live cue card again. The break never actually comes. The producers decide, on the spot, to keep the cameras rolling because the rawness of the moment is too real, too electric. The audience realizes it, too. Everyone leans forward, waiting, not blinking, unsure whether they are watching a conversation, an argument, or something that might cross into a full emotional unraveling. Leo adjusts in his chair, clearing his throat like he's trying to regain control, but the heat in his eyes is still there. Sunny sits up straighter, her tone calmer but firm, the tone someone uses when they want to prevent chaos but aren't willing to back down. Okay, she says slowly. If you want to keep the conversation going, then let's actually address the point. You say the criticism feels unfair. A lot of people feel the same way about the messaging they hear from Hollywood. So how do we bridge that gap? Leo looks at her thoughtfully for a moment, but that frustration's still simmering. We bridge it by focusing on actual solutions instead of trying to find contradictions in activists' personal lives, he says. Because nobody is perfect. And if the standard is perfection, then nobody will speak up about anything ever again. Anna cuts in before Sunny can respond. But Leo, perfection isn't the standard. Consistency is. Leo shoots her a look. And I've been consistent. Anna tilts her head. Not in the eyes of the public. And that's who's watching this show. The audience reacts with a wave of murmurs, some supportive, some critical, all engaged. The air feels thick. Leo exhales sharply, like he's been holding something in for too long. Do you know how many people I've talked to? How many organizations I've funded? How many projects I've supported that nobody ever hears about because people are too busy counting my flights? It's ridiculous. Whoopi leans forward, resting her elbows on the table. Nobody's discounting your work, she says, trying to steady the moment. We're just saying, if you want the public on board, you can't ignore how you're perceived. Leo taps his fingers on the table, annoyed but trying to restrain himself. Perception can be manipulated. And it often is. I mean, half the stories that go viral about me aren't even accurate. Sunny immediately responds. Then address them. That's what we're giving you space to do right now. Leo's voice lifts again. I am addressing them, but every time I try, someone interrupts. The audience reacts again, some with sympathy, some with tension-fueled amusement. It's that awkward mix that happens when a guest isn't fully wrong, but also not fully right, and the hosts are trying to maintain control of a situation that's slipping through their fingers. Sunny sits back, folds her arms, and nods slowly. Okay, you've got the floor, she says. Go ahead. No interruptions. Leo pauses. The silence stretches for a beat too long, and the audience waits, expecting him to give a calm, polished explanation. But he doesn't. Instead, he speaks with rawness that almost sounds too personal for daytime TV. It's exhausting, he says quietly at first. That's the truth. I've tried so hard to do everything right. I've tried to use my platform responsibly. I've tried to raise awareness, donate money, volunteer, meet with leaders, fund research, and somehow it's never enough. It's like people are waiting for me to slip up so they can call me a hypocrite. The audience listens, unusually silent. I'm human, he continues. I make mistakes. I have a life. I have work that requires travel. But the way my efforts get overshadowed by a single photo or a misleading headline, it gets to me. I'm tired of feeling like no matter what I do, someone is going to twist it. Whoopi nods, her tone turning more empathetic. I hear you. But that's what being a public figure is. It's not always fair. And sometimes the criticism comes with the territory. Leo shakes his head. But it shouldn't come at the cost of the message. That's the problem. Anna jumps in, softer than before. Nobody wants your message to be lost, Leo. But the conversation around climate is already fragile. People feel judged. They feel talked down to. And when they see celebrities doing something they can't afford to do, something they are told is harmful, it creates frustration. That frustration isn't about you personally. It's about the bigger system. Leo's voice rises again. But why am I the face of that frustration? Why not the companies? Why not the governments? Sunny answers immediately. Because you're visible. You're accessible. People see you. People hear you. Leo snaps back without hesitation. Visibility shouldn't make me the scapegoat. The audience gasps, because that's the sharpest line yet. His tone isn't just frustrated now, it's verging on combative. Whoopi sits up straight. Nobody said you're a scapegoat. But you have to be willing to hear criticism when you're taking a strong stance. Leo throws his hands up slightly. But it's not criticism, it's nitpicking. It's this gotcha-style approach that doesn't actually help the conversation. Anna leans forward, no longer holding back. Leo, that's not fair. This isn't gotcha. This is accountability. If you want people to change their behavior, they have to trust the messenger. Leo cuts her off sharply. And I've done everything I can to earn that trust. The audience reacts again, gasps, whispers, surprise. Even the crew members backstage peek over monitors. Sunny's tone sharpens. Then why not just say, yes, I've made mistakes, and I'm working on them? Why is that so hard? Leo turns to her, visibly irritated. Because it makes it sound like I'm guilty of something malicious. Like I'm intentionally being hypocritical. Sunny doesn't look away. Nobody said malicious. But humility goes a long way. Leo laughs harshly, shaking his head. I've been humble. 4 years. And it still isn't enough. The tension spikes again. The audience shifts anxiously. Someone coughs. Someone else whispers, wow, this is intense. Whoopi gently taps the table. Leo, listen. This show, this table, we push people. We challenge them. That's what we do. And yeah, it gets heated. It's not personal. You're here because we respect the work you do. But you're reacting like we're attacking you. Leo takes a slow breath but doesn't soften. Because it feels like it. Anna replies instantly. Then maybe you're too close to it. Leo turns to her sharply. Excuse me. Anna's voice stays steady, but her tone is sharp. You're passionate about your work. That's great. But passion can make people defensive. And right now, you're reacting emotionally, not logically. Leo's eyes widen. The audience gasps again. Sunny murmurs, oh boy. Leo fires back. You think I'm being emotional? Of course I'm emotional. This is my life's work. And instead of talking about the documentary, I'm being told I'm not good enough for the cause I've been fighting for since my 20s. Anna answers without flinching. And we're saying nobody is perfect, but transparency matters. Leo stares at her, his jaw tightened, his voice strained. I am transparent. Whoopi finally intervenes. Okay, let's slow this down. Everyone take a breath. But the tension is too thick. Nobody breathes. Leo speaks again, quieter but with a harder edge. You invited me here. You said we'd talk about the film. Instead, I'm sitting here defending my existence. Sunny responds, just as quiet but unyielding. Nobody asked you to defend your existence. Just your choices. And that line, hits Leo hard. You can see it in the way his shoulders tense, the way he blinks rapidly, the way he grips the edge of his chair like he needs to anchor himself. The audience reacts again, gasps, murmurs, the shifting energy of a crowd sensing a moment that could spiral further. Leo looks down, then back up, then slowly shakes his head. Unbelievable, he mutters. And right then, before anyone can move, respond, or redirect, the tension hits a breaking point none of them expected. And the chaos that follows isn't loud at first. It starts quietly, almost under the breath, but powerful enough to throw the entire studio into stunned disbelief. The quiet muttering that slips out of Leo's mouth, unbelievable, lands heavier than anything he's said so far. The hosts hear it. The audience hears it. The tension, already on the edge, tips just a little further, and suddenly the room feels like it's holding its breath all over again. Sunny shifts in her chair, straightening as if she feels the need to re-establish the balance. Leo, she says slowly, if you have something more to say, say it. Don't mumble under your breath. We're right here. This table is right here. Leo lifts his head sharply, meeting her eyes. I'm saying it feels like no matter what I say, it's wrong. That's what's unbelievable. Anna jumps in before Sunny can respond. That's not true, Leo. You just don't like the pushback. The audience reacts instantly, gasps, murmurs, a few uncomfortable laughs. Even the camera operator visibly shifts, the lens adjusting as if trying to anticipate the next explosion. Leo's jaw tightens. It's not about pushback, he says, voice rising again. It's about good faith. And at this point, I don't feel like this conversation is coming from a place of good faith. Whoopi shakes her head, pressing her palm gently on the table. Leo, come on. You know us. You know this show. We're not ambushing anyone. Leo looks away for a moment, then back toward her, frustration etched into every line of his face. It feels like one. Sunny leans forward. Why? Because we're asking you what millions of people ask every time your name trends on social media. That's not an ambush. That's real conversation. Leo exhales sharply. No, real conversation is when people actually try to understand each other. This feels like judgment. Anna responds instantly. And you're judging us for asking questions. You see the irony. Leo opens his hands, almost pleading. I'm asking for fairness. That's it. Whoopi lifts a hand, signaling for everyone to pause. Okay, we're going in circles. So let's pull back. Let's slow down. And let's try to get to a point where everyone feels heard. The audience claps lightly, hoping to break the tension, but the applause fades quickly. The air still feels thick, like everyone's waiting for the next spark. Sunny softens her tone. Leo, at the end of the day, what do you want people to understand about you? Leo sits back, breathing deeply, and for the first time since the blow-up began, his expression shifts, still tense, but clearer. I want people to know that I care, that I've dedicated years to this cause, that I'm trying to be part of the solution, and that I'm not doing any of this for attention. I'm doing it because the world is burning, and someone has to do something. The audience reacts with a mix of sympathy and tension, not sure which emotion to settle on. Anna nods slowly. And we hear that. Really. But you also have to hear what we're saying. People look at you and think, if he's telling us to change but he doesn't change everything, why should we? Leo's eyes narrow slightly. That's the whole problem. People think individual perfection is the solution. It's not. This is systemic. This is beyond one person's choices. Sunny gestures with her hand, agreeing partially. You're right. It's systemic. But messaging matters. Perception matters. And your role in this conversation matters. Leo shakes his head in disbelief. I feel like I'm being lectured. The audience reacts again, gasps, murmurs. Someone in the back says, oh wow, loud enough for a MIC to catch it. Whoopi leans forward, her voice firm but steady. You're not being lectured. You're being challenged. That's what this table does. You knew that when you came here. Leo looks at her, something between frustration and disappointment flashing across his face. I came here to talk about the documentary. And we are talking about it, Whoopi replies. But you can't separate the messenger from the message. Not in today's world. Leo's expression hardens. Maybe that's the real problem. Sunny breathes out sharply. So what, Leo? You want us to pretend like contradictions don't matter. Leo snaps back. I want you to look at the bigger picture instead of nitpicking my life. Anna leans in, her voice now sharper than before. And I want you to take responsibility for how your actions influence people. That's the moment everything breaks. Leo sits up straight, eyes burning with frustration. You know what? I'm done with this. I really am. The studio erupts, gasps, shocked laughter, people whispering. He's not serious. Is he walking out? No way. Sunny blinks, caught off guard. What do you mean? You're done. Leo gestures toward the table. This whole dynamic. It's toxic. You ask a question, I try to answer, and then you twist it. I'm not here to be a punching bag. Anna opens her mouth, but Whoopi raises a hand. Let him speak. Leo continues. I came on this show because I thought we could have an honest conversation. But this isn't honesty. This is entertainment. This is conflict for views. And I'm not doing it. Sunny shakes her head slowly. Leo, that's not fair. Leo stands up, not storming, but firm, controlled. Neither is this conversation. The audience gasps loudly. Someone yells, no, don't go. Whoopi holds out her hand. Leo, sit down. Let's finish this the right way. Leo hesitates, for a long second. The audience freezes. The hosts freeze. The tension is so thick it feels physical. But finally, after a long exhale, he sits back down. The audience breaks into applause, relieved, supportive, overwhelmed. Leo rubs his forehead, visibly exhausted. "I don't want to fight," he says quietly. "I really don't." Sunny nods. "Then let's stop fighting." Anna softens. "Nobody here hates you. Nobody is trying to hurt you." Whoopi adds, "We're having a hard conversation. That's all." Leo nods slowly, looking down. Hard conversations shouldn't feel like traps. Anna replies gently, "Then let's reset." The tension eases, just a little. Not gone, but no longer explosive. The show wraps with Leo carefully summarizing the documentary, Whoopi guiding the discussion back on track, Sunny offering balanced questions, and Anna giving Leo space to clarify his intentions. The tone is calmer, but the emotional residue in the air stays heavy. The audience claps at the end, not the usual light, daytime applause, but something deeper, more unsettled. They know they witnessed something real. After the cameras cut, Leo shakes hands with the hosts, awkward, stiff, but polite. He doesn't linger. He doesn't pose for backstage photos. He leaves quickly, surrounded by his team. Backstage staff whisper, replaying the moment. Someone says, "That's going viral in 10 minutes. Someone else says, "In 2. And they are right. Within an hour, clips flood social media. Leonardo DiCaprio snaps on live TV. Leo versus The View, heated exchange. Did Sunny push him too far? Did Leo overreact? Hashtags trend across platforms. People argue online, some defending Leo, some defending the hosts, some saying it's the most real moment daytime TV has had in years. Comment sections explode with debate. Leo had every right to be frustrated. He was disrespectful to the hosts. They pushed him too hard. He couldn't handle accountability. Finally, a real conversation on TV. Industry insiders call the moment intense, unfiltered, risky, necessary. Later that evening, Leo posts a short statement. "Passionate conversations are part of progress. I stand by the work." It gets millions of likes. The View releases a calm, professional clip. "We have conversations. They get heated. That's what we do." But the debate doesn't die. It only grows. And that's where the viewers come in. If you're watching this breakdown, tell us, was Leo pushed too far, or was this accountability in action? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.